You're looking for a chair that actually lets you get through the workday without constant adjusting, without a back that aches by 3 m, and without feeling like you just threw a few features together and called it a premium seat. Most of us have sat in a cheap mesh chair that promised support but left us reaching for a pillow or a standing desk, and the last thing you want is another piece of office furniture that looks good on paper but ends up being a daily annoyance. That hesitation is real, especially when you're spending a few $100s on something you'll be in for 8 or more hours a day. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Steelcase gesture isn't a gimmick-heavy, over-engineered throne. It's a chair that tries to move the way you do, whether you're typing on a laptop, scrolling on a phone, or sketching on a tablet. The whole idea behind the design is that the back and seat stay in sync with each other, so you don't have to fight against the chair when you shift from a forward-leaning posture to a relaxed recline. That's the promise, and the way it plays out in a real office or home office setup is what matters most. If you're the type of person who spends a lot of time at the desk, but you don't want to become a contortionist just to stay comfortable, the gesture's arm adjustability is worth noting. The arms actually swing out and forward, mimicking how a human arm moves, which means they stay under your elbows whether you're typing, writing, or holding a tablet. In practice, that translates to less shoulder hunch and fewer trips to the adjust arm button every half hour. I tried it while drafting a project plan on a laptop, then switched to a quick sketch on a graphics tablet, and the arm pads never left my elbows. That's a small thing, but when you add up the minutes saved from not constantly readjusting, it feels like a genuine productivity boost. The seat itself is another area where the gesture tries to earn its price tag. Steelcase built a flexible perimeter around the edge of the seat, which means you get consistent cushioning even when you slide to the side to reach for a file cabinet or a second monitor. Most chairs develop a dead zone at the edge where the foam collapses, forcing you to stay centered. With this chair, the edge stays supportive, so you can naturally shift without feeling like you're about to tumble off. In my daily routine, I often stand up to grab a coffee and then sit back down a few seconds later, and the seat didn't sink or feel lopsided, a subtle but reassuring detail. One of the biggest concerns people have with high-end office chairs is whether the adjustability actually matches the range of body types they'll encounter. The gesture comes with a range of seat height settings, depth adjustments, and lumbar support tweaks that are supposed to cover a wide variety of users. In a home office shared by a 5 feet 6 inches graphic designer and a 6 feet 1 inch software engineer, we found the seat height was easy to set for both, and the lumbar dial provided enough firmness for the taller user without being too stiff for the shorter one. The key is that the adjustments are reachable without standing up. Most knobs are within arm's reach, and the seat slides forward and back with a single lever, which feels more intuitive than the hidden levers on some competing models. Now, no chair is perfect, and the gesture does have some practical trade-offs. The biggest one is weight. Because of the robust frame and the moving mechanisms, the chair feels heavier than a typical mesh chair. If you need to move it between rooms or rearrange your layout often, you'll need a second pair of hands. It's not a deal-breaker for a fixed office, but it's something to keep in mind if you like a flexible workspace. Another point is the price point. This is definitely an investment well above the $200 $300 range of many popular office chairs. If you're on a tight budget or you only need a chair for a few hours a day, the extra dollars might not be justified. The leather finish, while stylish, also shows fingerprints more readily than fabric, so you'll need to wipe it down occasionally to keep it looking sharp. Who should walk away? If you're a freelancer who works at a CAF 3 days a week, or a student who only spends a couple of hours a day at a desk, you'll likely get more mileage out of a less expensive, lighter chair. If you have chronic back issues but have already found relief with a medically prescribed ergonomic chair, you might not need the extra arm swing technology that the gesture offers. Also, if you're in a very small cubicle where space is at a premium, the footprint of this chair, especially with the arm extensions, might feel a bit imposing. Who should consider it a solid buy? Professionals who spend 8 to 10 hours.